end it and say, or it's over, calling the election early? The election will be held on February 15th to speed things up because we're bored already. The American people can't take it. There it is. Yeah, but okay, the movie's out. Okay, Deb on WMAL. Go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead. Have your moment of fame.
Is Avalon
What is Avalon?
the name of the movie in Baltimore?
Yes, that is right, Avalon. Why did they call it Avalon?
I don't know. I thought that was a strange name, but I love it because you remember the uncle, they had to wait on him every year. Nobody could eat until the uncle came. And the year that they cut the turkey before he got there, he was like, I can't believe you cut the turkey.
Yeah. That's why I love the movie. Because I'm saying, but it ended with this big immigrant family all together. It ends with the one guy alone in his room, eating in his house, the other one alone in his house. No one talks to each other, right? It was a comment on the modern world that we live in. The isolation of people, the loneliness, right?
Right, it was like the demise of the family. You know, they just kept getting more and more distant.
Well, that's right. The only big families left today that are still together are the immigrant families. The American family today is largely atomized. I mean, there are exceptions. I understand that. But by and large, people are alone. This one lives here. That one lives there. That one's there. That one's going on a trip. This one's having a toenail clipped. And they don't get together anymore.
Exactly.
All right, I'm sending you a copy of Government Zero. Stay on the line. That's all. Nice Christmas gift. Bring it to your dinner, but if you're eating alone, it's a dinner of one. You'll look at the book yourself on the TV tray. It's not such a bad thing to be alone, by the way. Actually, there's a lot to be said for it. To be very honest, it's not bad eating alone. At least you can concentrate on television. I don't know. I find eating alone, having a meal on a tray or on a table and watching a movie, not such a bad thing. I mean, I want to listen to a relative, really? I don't really want, how are you, and what were you doing, and what did you do this year, I heard this, and how'd you go, and I had an operation. No kidding. I don't know. Who cares? It's very difficult at a certain point. But I do like Thanksgiving. You know what I think about when Thanksgiving comes around? It's a funny thing. Every Wednesday, before the Thanksgiving holiday, I'll do it next Wednesday, God willing, if I'm on the air. Every Wednesday, right before, on the cusp of the Thanksgiving thing, for one reason or another, I only remember one Wednesday before Thanksgiving in my whole life. I was an undergrad at Queens College. I don't know, I must have been a sophomore, a junior. And I had an old Jaguar XK150. I had just gotten it. It was 4 or 5 years old, and it was, I had to fix it up. I was so happy that day. The air was crisp the way New York is in the autumn. It's so beautiful. It's unbelievable. You want to reach out and kiss the sky, as Jimi Hendrix would say, right? And I drove with the top down to the campus, Queens College. Somewhere around dusk, the light was falling. And did you ever get those feelings where everything's perfect and you feel good? I wasn't on drugs. I was just high on life, where the leather smelled good, your jacket felt good, your shoes looked good, everything worked right, and you drove by, and there were the kids, and then there was a little liquor store there nearby. I went and I picked up a bottle. Who knows what I was drinking in those days? And I took it home. I don't know, and I try to remember. I try to ask, why is that day so good? Because life's been downhill every day since then. It's never been as good, no matter what I've achieved. Bestsellers, money, houses. That day was the best. Why? I have no idea. Well, I do know why, because I knew that day was going to be followed by a day when my mother would have a dinner where there'd be 100 people. All the relatives would be there, and my mother knew how to put out a meal, my God. One woman, what she cooked on that little 4-burner electric stove, they couldn't do today on a Wolf range with 25 outlets. You go to a restaurant. I don't laugh at the people. I walk past these restaurants with windows open to the street in San Francisco. I feel bad for the people. They go to cooking school thinking they're going to be a famous chef. And you see the poor guy chopping a carrot through the window with a ponytail. I mean, come on. You got to feel bad for the guy. How much did it cost him? He got screwed going to the Culinary Institute. And there he is in the window on a cutting board cutting up a carrot with 3 other poor people waiting to become the next celebrity chef. The next one's cutting a cucumber for 3 hours. Next to her is another one with waiting to be next. So my mother on 4 burners without gas in it. How did she do it? Not just a turkey. You'd walk through the house. Am I boring you with this? What do you want me to talk about? How great Ronald Reagan was? Or the founding fathers? I'm not going to do it. She understood that when you came to her house as a guest, you didn't have to wait to be fed 3 hours later where you were getting hypoglycemia and could faint. This woman had appetizers on trays on tables in the doorway. In her little attached house in Queens, I remember every table was laden with nuts, with chopped liver, with a herring. 500 different things were on tables. People were stuffing their faces before they took their coats off. Why was I happy on that Wednesday? Because I knew on that Thursday I'd see everyone in my family. They were all alive. They were happy. No one had cancer. No one had a heart attack. No one had heartbreak yet. That's why. What do you want me to do? Tell you not? I'll be back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
My Savage Nation is sponsored by SwissAmerica.com, the only company I trust to protect my wealth with gold and silver. Call 800-BUICO. So I was mentioning a movie, Avalon, by Barry Levinson, done years ago about a big immigrant family, Jewish in this case. Everyone together, and then it ends as years go on. One gets mad at the other, and then one dies off. They end up alone in a room with a turkey with a television set on. And strangely enough, Baltimore was a beautiful city, by the way. The first line of Craig Smith's amazing book, he's with SwissAmerica.com, and Craig, by the way, has backed my show for 15 years. It's the only gold company in the whole world that you should trust, SwissAmerica.com. He's written a book, and I believe the title is, We Have Seen the Future, and it looks like Baltimore. In fact, he quotes the first line in that book is, I came to America, and then I came to Baltimore. It was the most beautiful place you've ever seen in your life. And look what Baltimore looks like today. It looks like Beirut, Lebanon. And ask yourself why. Ask yourself why it went from such a beautiful city. And ask yourself why Philadelphia has become a cesspool. And ask yourself why Baltimore looks like a cesspool. And ask yourself what happened to the inner city of Detroit. Who are you going to blame it on? Microaggression? Ooh, it was microaggression that caused it. Ooh, yeah, come up with an excuse for everything. What do you think, everyone's a moron and doesn't know what's going on? That's all. End the story. Michelle complaining about women's rights in America. You hear this? The most powerful woman on earth walks around and goes to India, whines about America and women's rights in America. I never heard anything like this. New Yorker ran a cartoon of them, which was roundly criticized. It showed Michelle with a big hairdo, with a bandolier of ammo around her head, looking like a revolutionary. And it showed him looking like a revolutionary, trying to be a little sarcastic. Well, guess what? It wasn't sarcasm. It looked like realism to me.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage. Warning. The Savage Nation contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised. And now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation, home of unprotected talk, borders, language, culture. And here he is, Michael Savage.
I'm the shortstop of radio. That's the position I used to play in school, by the way, the 2 times I ever played baseball. Here we are, hour number 3. How do you like that? We made it. Here's a little headline. Give us the breaking news. No one's going to believe this story. Go ahead. Go for it. Story. Secret Service agent arrested in child sex sting. I swear to God. A Secret Service officer assigned to the so-called White House was arrested after he was caught in a sting, sending naked pictures of himself to someone he thought was a 14-year-old girl from Delaware, according to a criminal complaint on Seal today. Lee Robert Moore turned himself into the Maryland State Police Barracks the same day the complaint was filed against him in the U.S. District Court. The complaint details a series of online chats between the Sterling Secret Service agent, age 37, and a Delaware State Police detective posing as a 14-year-old girl from Delaware. Moore, the Secret Service agent, is alleged to have sent naked pictures of himself to the undercover officer and requested to meet in person to have sex. And here's the punchline. Some of the communications occurred while the Sterling Secret Service officer was on the job at the White House, the complaint said. And you wonder why America's as porous as a piece of Swiss cheese. Yeah, all right. Welcome to the Savage Nation Hour 3. That's all. Let's see. What do you want to talk about? The time, the this, the that. 855-407-282. I've been invited on Japanese television. I don't know if I should do it. And, yeah, that Fuji TV wants me on. It's not like I'm going to sell a book. I would like the idea of going on the TV show in Japan. For what reason, I don't know. They're not going to buy my book. They're going to bring cameras and recorders, and they're going to ask me my opinion of the election. For what reason, I don't know. Thanks again for speaking with me yesterday. We're okay with doing the interview at Savage's home studio. You mentioned early December. Can we set a date? I'd like permission to use some of Savage's interviews with Donald Trump. I'm still not sure which one we'll use, but I like Trump's talking points on the TPP and how China will be able to join later and get a better deal. All right, we'll see. Fuji TV now. Who knows? What am I going to do it for? Why shouldn't I do it? Should I do it, or should I do Japanese television? What do I got to lose? They're never going to buy a book. They won't buy a single book. So what do I get out of it? They don't pay for a thing like... I hear my father talking to me from heaven saying, what are you going to do it for, Schmendrick? They're not paying you. They're not going to buy a book. So what are you wasting your time for? I don't know. I don't know why. The idea they're going to watch me in Japan is going to excite me at night. Who knows? Fame is a fleeting thing to begin with. And everybody wants their 15 minutes. I've had 21 years of it, but in that sense, he was wrong. Everyone has 15 minutes of fame. If you have 21 years of modest fame, it's a long time. I'm planning Thanksgiving anyway. I can't focus. I'm only thinking about Thanksgiving. I'm not interested in the microaggression story or the morons on campus. They're all losers. None of them are going to get a job when they get out. They're going to blame someone else. They're going to come out of college and wonder why they can't get a job. You say, well, where are their parents? Duh. What parents? What, do you think their parents got somewhere based on brains? The parents told them how to work the system. And this is not a racial thing. The professor was white that they fired, that loudmouth, who was screaming, we need some muscle over here. Remember her? Muscle over here. A little fascist. Don't tell me I don't know what fascism is. She screamed for muscle over here to throw a reporter away from the protest. You hear this? This is in your country what this left-wing fascists have done to the country. Don't tell me you don't know what fascism is. I need some muscle over here. See, I'm the first one in the media to explain what fascism means. Most of you are illiterate, and you think you're smart, but fascism comes from the Latin word fascia, meaning stick, and it refers to the small nightsticks that the Roman legion used to control the populations in the areas that they conquered. The fascia were the sticks. Do you understand that? They beat people up with the sticks to control them, and that's what they're doing on the campuses now. Instead of using sticks right now, they're using the verbal stones, such as microaggression, white privilege. Those are the verbal stones of liberal fascism, in my opinion. Fascia, stick, small sticks. All right, forget about it. We could talk about anything else. Let's see what else is in the news. You heard about the perv in the Secret Service, the alleged perv. We know that bullies are running the campuses. We know that. It's all bullying. In fact, the ones who've always screamed most about bullies, bully, 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 they're the bullies. You know that. They're the bullies. Now they've linked arms now. They're arm in arm with the Schmendricks. They got the morons with the arm in arm, with the tubes on their arms. So now they fired one of the kindest, sweetest liberal professors, forced to quit because he refused to cancel an exam. Beloved University of Missouri Professor Dale Brigham quit over student protests. You know what he did wrong? He refused to cancel an exam, telling students the following: the only way bullies are defeated is by standing up to them. If we cancel the exam, they win. If we go through with it, they lose. They forced this poor, nice liberal professor to quit. Can you believe what these animals are doing on the campuses? And by the way, don't say that's a racist word, because if you look at the protesters, it's not limited to one race. They're stupid, and they're right out of Animal Farm, and that's the reference. They're animals out of Animal Farm, period. And don't misquote me. I have the First Amendment, and I will use it every day of my career. I've done it for 21 years. You want to talk about freedom of speech? There is nobody in the electronic media more qualified to talk about freedom of speech than Michael Savage. I am the only member of the media in this country who's ever been banned from Britain based upon words that I never really said. They misinterpreted what I said. They misquoted what I said. They took out of context what I said. And based upon that, the liberal fascists in the Socialist Party, called the Labour Party, banned me from entering Britain. Did you know that? You don't know that. You don't know that. And you know what happened the day I woke up in 2000?